Section 1 of The Empire of Business by Andrew Carnegie, first published in 1902. The Empire of Business, Section Number 1. The Road to Business Success, a Talk to Young Men. It is well that young men should begin at the beginning and occupy the most subordinate positions. Many of the leading businessmen of Pittsburgh had a serious responsibility thrust upon them at the very threshold of their career. They were introduced to the broom and spent the first hours of their business lives sweeping out the office. I notice we have janitors and janitresses now in offices, and our young men unfortunately miss that salutary branch of a business education. But if by chance the professional sweeper is absent any morning, the boy who has the genius of the future partner in him will not hesitate to try his hand at the broom. The other day, a fond, fashionable mother in Michigan asked a young man whether he had ever seen a young lady sweep in a room so grandly as her Priscilla. He said no, he never had, and the mother was gratified beyond measure. But then, said he, after a pause, what I should like to see her do is sweep out a room. It does not hurt the newest comer to sweep out the office if necessary. I was one of those sweepers myself. And who do you suppose were my fellow sweepers? David McCargo, now superintendent of the Allegheny Valley Railroad, Robert Pitcairn, superintendent of the Pennsylvania Railroad, and Mr. Moreland, city attorney. We all took turns, 2 each morning did the sweeping, and now I remember Davy was so proud of his clean white shirt bosom that he used to spread it over an old silk bandana handkerchief which he kept for the purpose, and we other boys thought he was putting on airs. So he was. None of us had a silk handkerchief. Assuming that you have all obtained employment and are fairly started, my advice to you is aim high. I would not give a fig for the young man who does not already see himself the partner or the head of an important firm. Do not rest content for a moment in your thoughts as head clerk or foreman or general manager in any concern, no matter how extensive. Say each to yourself, my place is at the top. Be king in your dreams. Make your vow that you will reach that position with untarnished reputation, and make no other vow to distract your attention, except the very commendable one that when you are a member of the firm or before that, if you have been promoted 2 or 3 times, you will form another partnership with the loveliest of her sex, a partnership to which our new Partnership Act has no application. The liability there is never limited. Let me indicate 2 or 3 conditions essential to success. Do not be afraid that I am going to moralize or inflict a homily upon you. I speak upon the subject only from the view of a man of the world, desirous of aiding you to become successful businessmen. You all know that there is no genuine, praiseworthy success in life if you are not honest, truthful, fair dealing. I assume you are and will remain all these, and also that you are determined to live pure, respectable lives, free from pernicious or equivocal associations with one sex or the other. There is no credible future for you else. Otherwise your learning and your advantages not only go for naught, but serve to accentuate your failure and your disgrace. I hope you will not take it amiss if I warn you against 3 of the gravest dangers which will beset you in your upward path. The first and most seductive, and the destroyer of most young men, is the drinking of liquor. I am no temperance lecturer in disguise, but a man who knows and tells you what observation has proved to him. And I say to you that you are more likely to fail in your career from acquiring the habit of drinking liquor than any other or all the other temptations likely to assail you. You may yield to almost any other temptation and reform, may brace up and, if not recover lost ground, at least remain in the race and secure and maintain a respectable position. But from the insane thirst for liquor, escape is almost impossible. I have known but few exceptions to this rule. First, then, you must not drink liquor to excess. Better if you do not touch it at all. Much better. But if this be too hard a rule for you, then take your stand firmly here. Resolve never to touch it except at meals. A glass at dinner will not hinder your advance in life or lower your tone, but I implore you hold it inconsistent with the dignity and self-respect of gentlemen with what is due from yourselves to yourselves, being the men you are, and especially the men you are determined to become, to drink a glass of liquor at a bar. Be far too much of the gentleman ever to enter a barroom. You do not pursue your careers in safety unless you stand firmly upon this ground. Adhere to it, and you have escaped danger from the deadliest of your foes. The next greatest danger to a young businessman in this community I believe to be that of speculation. When I was a telegraph operator here, we had no exchanges in the city, but the men or firms who speculated upon the eastern exchanges were necessarily known to the operators. They could be counted on the fingers of one hand. These men were not our citizens of first repute. They were regarded with suspicion. I have lived to see all of these speculators irreparably ruined men, bankrupt in money and bankrupt in character. There is scarcely an instance of a man who has made a fortune by speculation and kept it. Gamesters die poor, and there is certainly not an instance of a speculator who has lived a life creditable to himself or advantageous to the community. The man who grasps the morning paper to see first how his speculative ventures upon the exchanges are likely to result unfits himself for the calm consideration and proper solution of business problems with which he has to deal later in the day, and saps the sources of that persistent and concentrated energy upon which depend the permanent success and often the very safety of his main business. The speculator and the businessman tread diverging lines. The former depends upon the sudden turn of fortune's wheel. He is a millionaire today, a bankrupt tomorrow. But the man of business knows that only by years of patient, unremitting attention to affairs can he earn his reward, which is the result not of chance but of well-devised means for the attainment of ends. During all these years, his is the cheering thought by no possibility can he benefit himself without carrying prosperity to others. The speculator, on the other hand, had better never have lived so far as the good of others or the good of the community is concerned. Hundreds of young men were tempted in the city not long since to gamble in oil, and many were ruined. All were injured, whether they lost or won. You may be, nay, you are certain to be similarly tempted. But when so tempted, I hope you will remember this advice. Say to the tempter who asks you to risk your small savings that if ever you decide to speculate, you are determined to go to a regular and well-conducted house where they cheat fair. You can get fair play and about an equal chance upon the red and black in such a place. Upon the exchange you have neither. You might as well try your luck with a 3-card Monte man. There's another point involved in speculation. Nothing is more essential to young businessmen than untarnished credit begotten of confidence in their prudence, principles, and stability of character. Well, believe me, nothing kills credit sooner in any bank board than the knowledge that either firms or men engage in speculation. It matters not a whit whether gains or losses be the temporary result of these operations. The moment a man is known to speculate, his credit is impaired, and soon thereafter it is gone. How can a man be credited whose resources may be swept away in 1 hour by a panic among gamesters? Who can tell how he stands among them, except that this is certain: he has given due notice that he may stand to lose all, so that those who credit him have themselves to blame. Resolve to be businessmen, but speculators never. The third and last danger against which I shall warn you is one which has wrecked many a fair craft which started well and gave promise of a prosperous voyage. It is the perilous habit of endorsing, all the more dangerous inasmuch as it assails one generally in the garb of friendship. It appeals to your generous instincts, and you say, "How can I refuse to lend my name only to assist a friend?" It is because there is so much that is true and commendable in that view that the practice is so dangerous. Let me endeavor to put you upon safe, honorable grounds in regard to it. I would say to you to make it a rule now, never endorse. But this is too much like never taste wine, or never smoke, or any other of the nevers. They generally result in exceptions. You will as businessmen now and then probably become security for friends. Now here's the line at which regard for the success of friends should cease and regard for your own honor begin. If you owe anything, all your capital and all your effects are a solemn trust in your hands to be held inviolate for the security of those who have trusted you. Nothing can be done by you with honor which jeopardizes these first claims upon you. When a man in debt endorses for another, it is not his own credit or his own capital he risks, it is that of his own creditors. He violates a trust. Mark you then never endorse until you have cash means not required for your own debts, and never endorse beyond those means. Before you endorse at all, consider endorsements as gifts, and ask yourselves whether you wish to make the gift to your friend, or whether the money is really yours to give, and not a trust for your creditors. You are not safe, gentlemen, unless you stand firmly upon this as the only ground which an honest businessman can occupy. I beseech you, avoid liquor, speculation, and endorsement. Do not fail in either, for liquor and speculation are the Scylla and Charybdis of the young man's business sea, and endorsement is rock ahead. Assuming you are safe in regard to these your gravest dangers, the question now is how to rise from the subordinate position you have imagined you in, through these successive grades, to the position for which you are, in my opinion, and I trust in your own, evidently intended. I can give you the secret. It lies mainly in this. Instead of the question, what must I do for my employer, substitute, what can I do? Faithful and conscientious discharge of the duties assigned you is all very well, but the verdict in such cases generally is that you perform your present duties so well that you had better continue performing them. Now, young gentlemen, this will not do. It will not do for the coming partners. There must be something beyond this. We make clerks, bookkeepers, treasurers, bank tellers of this class, and there they remain to the end of the chapter. The rising man must do something exceptional, and beyond the range of his special department. He must attract attention. A shipping clerk, he may do so by discovering in an invoice an error with which he has nothing to do, and which has escaped the attention of the proper party. If a weighing clerk, he may save the firm by doubting the adjustment of the